Hello and welcome to lesson 4. I hope that you are having a great week so far, that you're enjoying all of these lessons, and that you're not getting too nervous about creating a LinkedIn profile or beginning your networking and interviewing work. I know a large portion of our lessons this week are focused on this idea of networking, so I've put together some tips and some examples that I want to go over with you to help you feel a little bit more confident as you begin this effort. So let's go ahead and look at some of the top tips that LinkedIn has actually shared to help you create a more effective profile. The first thing you should do is add a professional photo. You want to depict yourself as a professional who fits your industry. Now, the next thing you should do is use a strong headline. Much like we learned about with the resumes, this should be a way to promote an area of expertise and make more of an impact. Now, the default setting in LinkedIn is to give the last job title that you've provided in your experience section. So make sure that you go in and change this to something that will have more impact. Now, the next thing to do is work on your summary. This should ideally convey your mission, your motivation, and your skills. Next, you want to make sure that you add all of the relevant experience and education that you have. Much like a resume, again, you want to show your qualifications. And finally, you want to come and add some skills and even request recommendations. As you know, skills are important to share because they help you catch the attention of potential employers and really show what you can do and what your strengths are. But recommendations are also a really great way to show that you're highly regarded by professionals in your industry. Once you've made connections with people on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and send them requests for recommendations. It's almost like asking for a review of you as a professional. And this is a really nice thing for potential employers to see. It tells them that you work well with others, that you're highly regarded, and that's an important step and often very useful for employers to see when they're making decisions. Now, as I said, I have a couple examples and I want to go over them with you. So let's look at this profile. Right here, you'll see a beginner's profile. So this is actually from my husband's LinkedIn. He's working on creating one right now, and I'm kind of helping walk him through that process. And this is where he's at right now. He has his professional picture, like we've talked about. He's also chosen a cover photo right here to show kind of his connection to the agriculture industry, because that's what he wants to get back into with work. That's his goal, and it's what he's trying to convey here. He's a professional that's interested in agriculture, and this is actually the farm that he was raised on. So that adds a little bit of depth, and he talks about it a little bit in his about or his summary. So you want to have something catchy. You want to tell them up front what you are. He started his right here saying sustainability, service, honesty, reliability. These are the fundamental pillars in the agricultural industry and in my life. So he's automatically tying himself to that industry and providing really good qualities that are important. So he's done very well in that respect. But let's go ahead and keep looking at some of the things he's done. Here you'll see a listing of all his experience that's relevant to the industry he's trying to get into, and even his education. Notice he left out his high school diploma because he has a higher education. When you have a degree, you don't need to add that high school education, but if you don't yet have a degree, go ahead and add whatever education you currently have, and even education that you're currently pursuing. That's good, just like a resume. Now, do you see what's missing? Think about the tips that we've just talked about. He doesn't currently have a skills section. He hasn't quite reached the point of recommendations yet. So his resume or his LinkedIn profile is looking a bit like a resume, and it is needing a little more development. So let's go ahead and see what his resume should be looking like once he's in industry, once he's developed all of these elements of his profile. This is another one, and this is a business professional who's been in the industry for over 20 years. And you'll see many more of those features that we've been talking about. And this is actually taken from my father's LinkedIn profile, and I know he reads lots of articles on how to develop it, and he's followed all of these tips that we've covered. So you'll see he has top skills right at the top. He's got highlights, which you can't see right here, but you can click into them and see some highlights. His activity, he's actually posting on LinkedIn to get a little bit more of a following and to keep in touch and let people see what projects he's currently working on to show development in his career. Then he's got a listing of his experience. Nothing too far back. Everything is pretty relevant to his position now and positions that he would potentially be looking for in the future. So he made sure it's very focused on his career that he's building, which is a very good step to do. He's provided his education, his licenses and certifications, and when you're working in IT, that's very important. So he's catering to the field that he's in, another good thing to do. He has provided skills and endorsements. In fact, some of his skills have been endorsed, which is kind of like a recommendation. It's where you list your skills and then people say, oh yes, I like that. He does do that. So he's been endorsed by several colleagues on the skills that he's provided, which looks wonderful to potential employers. And then he even has those recommendations. So as I said, you can send out those requests for recommendations, which is a really good step and kind of a polishing note for your LinkedIn profile. Now, a reminder, a word of caution, please always be very safe. LinkedIn is designed for professionals, but it is still a social media account, and you need to make sure that you're always using good cyber safety practices and never giving out sensitive information like your address or a private phone number, your bank information, vehicle information, sometimes even the names of close family members. You want to make sure that you're being very, very safe as this is public. Now, a final thought for you, a more spiritual thought. As we're working on making connections and networking, I want to remind you that this is an effort that should be large in our life. It should be encompassing in some ways as we work to do it on both sides of the veil. This is a quote from President Nelson. He said, "The Lord is hastening his work to gather Israel. That gathering is the most important thing taking place on earth today. And if you choose to, if you want to, you can be a big part of it. You can be a big part of something big, something grand, something majestic." What is family history if not networking? As I said, this is a networking on both sides of the veil. It's a gathering of Israel. It's an incredible effort and one that our prophet has invited us to join. I know it's a little bit hard right now with temples being difficult to access and impossible in some places, but we can still do our family history work. We can still use Family Search. We can join this great effort in whatever form is available to us, and I know that we'll be blessed for these efforts. So I encourage you this week to read the lessons, go over all of the networking and connecting information, apply it to your professional life, apply it to your academic life, but also apply it to your personal and spiritual life. Make an effort to connect spiritually with those who are here with us and those who have already passed. And I know you'll be blessed for your efforts. Thank you for watching this. I hope it's helpful to you, and I wish you the very best this week as you keep moving forward with our studies. Thank you again.